This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Franklin Township Environmental Commission in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231. Adequate notice of this meeting has been posted. Roll call. Marie Santiago Valentin.
Here.
Robin Sudan.
Here.
Arnold Smith.
Here.
Dan.
Yaraj, here.
Walter Andrews. Paul Walensky.
Here.
Jessica Johnson.
Here.
And Tara Kenyon. I'm going to call. Make sure. I'm not sure how we do this, but nevertheless, we are all here. And I apologize for being a little late. I don't know what happened here. I thought I had saved into one of my folders, but apparently I only had it through the end of August. But nevertheless, we can get started. Just 1 second here.
Here's the chair to report.
Okay, chair report. There's nothing, unusual to report. I'm thinking, we're moving with the COVID numbers going up, and Franklin, they haven't been canceled. Will it be rescheduled, or is it off until next year? Or
Off till next year.
Yeah. What are the spoils from, if anything, from it being canceled? Where are the bags and what the flyers and things that we had to go in? How can we distribute, the bag ban information through May and maybe beyond? Someone told me they saw some of the flyers on the website. I don't know if any of you have seen that, if Jessica has posted them or has asked Bob McQueen to do so.
I don't post them. Bob McQueen has to post them. I did send it to Bob to get posted. Well, actually, Tara sent it to Bob.
I did. I sent them. Yeah.
I have seen it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Walter,
Yes.
I am scheduled to attend Franklin Chamber event on October 7th.
Yes.
And we'll be speaking to the chamber members about the plastics ban. I'm hoping, Tara, I can pick up some flyers so I can take to that event. Maybe you and I can talk offline about
Absolutely.
what office in the township building is printing them and when I can go pick them up.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'd love to have somebody's company. It's a regular chamber meeting. It's their Oktoberfest. It's October 7th, and it's at, I think it's called Stateside Tavern on Pierce Street. And I'd be happy to send the link to anybody that's going. I signed up for my husband and me to go. It's $20. And I think it's a nice opportunity to promote the Environmental Commission.
Yeah, I saw that, and thanks for the invitation. Is that in the same center as the Investors Bank, or is that further down the road?
You all might know better than I. It's not my part of town.
That's what used to be. It used to be Freddy's.
Oh, it's in the corner. It's on the corner of that. Okay.
Yeah. The bank is there. I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
So I'd love to have somebody else there besides me. I think it's good if we.
Okay.
Robin, what day is it?
It's Thursday, October 7th.
I think that's good for me too.
It's 5 to 7, and we'd all have to pay our own $20, but I think it's nice to be there. It's not a lot of out-of-pocket money, and we could actually talk to some of the people in the room about the Environmental Commission.
Yeah. Okay.
I have brochures I picked up from the Watershed Institute also, because I went down there the day before, that
Right.
Monday before, and they gave me a packet.
So I'll just send everybody the link to the event and maybe let me know, and perhaps we could divvy up who's going to talk. Doesn't have to be just me, but I think it's a really nice opportunity to say, hey, we're your environmental commission. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know what's on your mind, and we'd love your support.
All right,
Uh,
wonderful. Okay,
We could give out some of the bags.
Yes, we could.
yeah.
Couple of years ago, I mean, well before COVID, I spoke with a couple of leaders of the Chamber of Commerce before a council meeting about the plastics bag, and they were all in favor of it.
That's very encouraging.
And I think one of the points to be made particularly is that the smaller businesses can still use paper bags, not plastic bags, but they can still use paper bags, which the large businesses cannot.
And there really are a lot of resources on the DEP's website to help businesses. And they really want to get pointed there so they can look up a lot of chapter and verse details, because that's the ultimate source. We can help make that point.
I might like to attend, but Tara and I have Ag Committee meeting that night if it actually occurs, which it often doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, I was just looking at that too.
Keep that in mind in case ag doesn't come off.
Okay.
It's probably,
Actually, we probably could go before it because Ag Committee is at 8 o'clock.
yeah,
This is at what time?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Oh, well, it doesn't overlap then.
Okay, well,
Very good.
if Terry, you can think about flyers and bags, the best way for me to get them, so I make sure they're at the meeting.
Okay.
Please just let me know. I'm happy to run around and do pickup of things. I just need to know where and if somebody's expecting me.
Okay, got it.
Very good. All right, and we may have an opportunity to interact with some of the environmental groups in the school system if things work out. So that may be another opportunity, whether they join us on a WebEx meeting or whatever, to sort of spread the word and have them help us spread the word. So we are looking for all those opportunities.
Well, Maria's done a really nice job on
Yeah,
that. I think we owe her some
absolutely.
thanks.
At some point, there will be the grand opening of the youth center. They're having what they call soft openings for limited number of people at the beginning of October, but they promised later, maybe next spring, a grand opening. And anything before May.
Okay, very good.
Robin, is the Chamber of Commerce at the PNC Bank on Franklin Boulevard?
I don't know that the chamber has an office per se. They do have volunteer, it's all volunteer. They may have-
Where is the event that you were referring to?
It's at the Stateside Tavern, which is on Pierce Street.
Ah,
It's Pierce and World's Fair Drive.
Yeah, it's on that corner.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, very good. All right, but things are moving, let's call it the rollout for the plastic ban. I think we're pretty much on time. And a lot of the information, educational material is there. We're engaging the Board of Education. We're on the website, on the social media. And
Walter, also the library, Maria's.
yes, absolutely.
The library, and I think we should just keep our eyes and ears open for any other opportunity.
Yeah.
Because it's very present now. I'm also still waiting to speak to the Somerset Ministerium, which is the Houses of Faith here in town, and they're very interested, so I should remind them that I'm ready to come. But
Yeah, I thought you had already engaged them, but maybe that
I
was another.
have. They are to tell me when their next meeting is, and I haven't heard that yet.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear from them, and we get those materials handy, I can put them to good use.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Anything else regarding, I mean, we might as well sort of lay it all out regarding the plastic,
That,
plastic bag
um,
ban.
should I
I'm
wait,
sorry,
should I wait
go ahead.
for the turn of the education subcommittee, or should I say it now?
No, we'll do it a little later.
Okay.
You want the sub, well, I don't know, maybe now is the time, you know, we haven't done the minutes, but let's sort of amend the agenda. This will fit in. So go ahead and give the education subcommittee report. Yeah.
Okay, very
I
short.
did have something on plastics though. The article I had shared, the Consumer Reports article
Yeah.
about the big problem with plastic, and
Mm-hmm.
the title says Consumer Reports reveals where most of the plastic you throw away really ends up and explains what to do to limit its environmental harm. I still think it's a really great article to share on our social channels, especially the flow chart graphic that it has about where the plastic actually goes.
Yes.
I think it would be a good resource to our town members. So I was hoping, that's why I had sent email to you privately. I was hoping we could vote on maybe sending that over for posting.
I apologize. I haven't responded, have I? All right. I'll get to that. I don't know how I missed that, but thank you to know that that's there, and that's another information source that
Well,
we
can
can.
Jessica make a motion to approve putting
I
that on
know
our?
I could motion for my own thing.
Yeah, I think, why not?
Yes, absolutely.
I
Go
motion
for
to send it to Bob McQueen to post to Facebook.
I will second that.
All right. It's been moved and second that the Consumer Report article on plastics that you have, we send it to social media for posting. Did I get a second?
But yeah, you have a
Yeah,
second,
okay.
but before we vote, can I just add that we learned from Bob Smith the other night at this
Oh,
LCV event that there is a bill making its way through Trenton that will require manufacturers to use recycled plastic. So hopefully that will be one small piece that would help require these plastics. It will create a market so these plastics actually get recycled because they'd have an end user to sell to. And
Well,
as I-
and even adjust the plastic manufacturing industry, right? So like
Right.
they have to be manufacturing at a level that these plastics can be safely recycled.
Right, and so it will be law, as I understand, it passed the Senate. The Assembly's got to vote on it when they get back, and then the governor apparently will sign it. So if we post this piece now, I think we'll have a great follow-up, maybe in a month or so, that New Jersey's passed this legislation that can help start to address the problem of where do plastics go. So we just want to remember maybe a month from now to check on the other half of the story and post that too.
absolutely.
Well, that's a
Thank you.
double-edged sword. I don't know if it was in the article that Jessica sent to us or another one that I read, but there was something about how it actually takes more energy to use to make products with recycled plastics.
That's why I was saying, if to Robin's point, it could change the plastic manufacturing, right? Because yes, if it's not manufactured in a certain way, then yes, it actually ends up doing more harm to recycle it than good.
Right.
And that's why you have to look for, and the reason I find this useful is because it talks about anything R3 or higher on the little recycle symbol isn't going to be good for recycling versus anything 1 or 2. Like that kind of stuff is practical information that homeowners can use on a day-to-day basis, and even check the bottles, the plastic bottles they're picking up for their salad dressing or whatever, and look at like milk cartons. Out of curiosity for myself, I try to pick things that are glass, but the plastic stuff in my fridge, I started looking, I'm like, is this a 2? Is it a 1? Like, what is it? So That I just feel like that those tidbits of practical information that people can apply to their day-to-day life, it can be useful.
Recycling is common everywhere in the world. If somebody says that it's more energy intense to recycle versus make virgin plastic, this is typically information fed from those who want to retain status quo. I can tell you from TerraCycle that we do life cycle analysis very diligently, and if it doesn't make sense to recycle, we wouldn't do it.
Right.
Different plastics would require different treatments to.
That's correct.
use them.
There is a way how to separate the plastic, and when it cannot be separated, it can be compounded with a compatibilizer, and there is still use of it.
And then if we're not, then you know what, Stan, I think you should read this because I think it's the broader concept is more about moving away from a disposable lifestyle, but it does comment on various aspects of recycling and how even if you think you're just recycling and you're doing something good, you may not be, right? And so, you know, I hear what you're saying, but maybe you should read. I'll send the article to you.
Well,
maybe you should read it because I think it has a little broader implication overall to how we live.
Yes, I agree that it's better not to have disposable lifestyle. The society has been trained to live disposable lifestyle, so it's very difficult to change. So we have to have multi-pronged approach, and recycling is part of it.
All right.
So you're saying we should or shouldn't post the article?
I didn't read the article, that's true.
In the article, I haven't
Well, we have a
So-
motion on the floor. Let's vote. Stan can always read it later. We don't
read
get
it.
enough yeses,
Okay.
it doesn't go anywhere.
All
Okay.
right. The motion has been moved and second that we post the consumer report article on the social media. All in favor, let it be known by show of your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Marie, do I see your hand?
I haven't read the article. I didn't,
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, me
And
neither.
All right.
I
All
cannot
right. So,
form opinion about it.
I know
okay.
I can't send it to everybody, so that's why. Like, I can't email the entire group.
Okay.
I think you could actually, as
Well,
long
I
as there
think-
is no discussion.
Is 4 out of 7 a majority? Can we do it anyway?
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
4 to
yes.
7 is a
Do it.
majority.
Yep.
And then email it to the rest of them, Jess.
Yeah, and you
Like,
can
the
email it to everybody, like Stan said, as long as there's no discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
That doesn't happen with this group.
All right. Look, why don't we sort of retrench it? Well, okay. So the motion, I don't know. Do we want to withdraw the motion?
No,
No,
leave it. It's passed. Do
It
it.
just passed, Walter.
Okay. All right. Maybe
4
by the
yeses,
time she
3
does it.
abstentions.
Okay. Thank you. Marie, you know, we have members of the public, and I do want them to hear what you have to say, and so I guess they are on now. So why don't you go ahead and give the education subcommittee report? That will sort of expand the conversation here about plastic ban and other things.
Okay.
You wanna share your screen? That's fine.
Well, I'm going to give a verbal report because
Okay.
the last meeting that we had, it was deciding what flyers we were going to send to the Board of Ed and the library. So we sent the ones that were prepared by the town, and that has the top, it says supported by Franklin Township Environmental Commission. And they were emailed to the parent coordinator of Franklin Public Schools, and also to the adult education I don't want to say manager, but the person in charge of at the public library. And at the public library, it will be posted next week. So he emailed me today, and they will be next week on their website.
Fantastic.
They're planning to make copies of those flyers, to make posters and post them also at the library. So it will be, they will be hard copies as well as a digital display. Now I have to follow up with Ms. Clark from Franklin Public Schools to find out more about, she's searching about the organization of an environmental club at the middle school, and I want to know what's happening with that. And also she was going to put me in contact with the staff that is the advisor of the environmental club at the high school. The engagement with that club will be another conversation that the commission needs to have for different projects. And that's about it, but I haven't heard from her yet.
Okay, very good.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. If we go on, get back on the agenda, we have the minutes of the the September
August 30th meeting.
August 30th, that's right. The August 30th meeting. Have you all had a chance to read those Ted prepared? I've sent them out.
How many people ended up being actually in attendance? Because I must have dropped. I was on different time zone and I had very poor internet connection.
You mean attendance at that meeting or this meeting here?
At that meeting.
Oh.
You were
all
there
right.
for the roll call. That's what counts.
Yeah. So that's at the top of the minutes. Okay.
I believe when Stan dropped off, I believe Paul came on, which maintained a quorum for us at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we did have a quorum. How many over and above that, I don't know. That's when I sort of, my concern sort of waned beyond, once we had a quorum. But maybe somebody can look at the minutes and see what has been recorded as being in attendance that Ted recorded just to answer Stan's question. But we did have a quorum. But
no, I'm just asking because I will not vote to approve because I missed most of it. Actually.
All right. Okay.
So.
All right. So can I get a motion? A motion to adopt the August 30th minutes?
I'd like to make one change I noticed in the minutes before we vote. It says that I sent letters to the other two occupants of the Randolph Road warehouse complex. I stopped in to visit one, but I haven't sent any letters out.
Okay, so
one of them is PIM. I don't know who the other one is. I saw trucks by their waiting loading docks, but I don't know who's in the third one. But I'm trying to contact the person in charge of the first one.
Okay. So you visited
I visited
sites.
one of the two other warehouses on the Amazon site.
Okay, all right. But you have not sent in the letters, okay?
No.
So we'll make that correction then.
Okay.
So can we approve the minutes with that correction for the August 30 minutes? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, abstention? Okay, the minutes are approved and we'll make sure that that particular, I did note that and I don't know why it slipped out of my mind, but we'll make sure that correction is made.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it down. I'll make that correction.
Okay.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you. All right. Jessica, the next item here, I'm sorry, public discussion. So we want to open the meeting to the public. Can I have a motion?
A motion to open to the public.
Second.
Okay, been moving second that we open the meeting to the public. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All who oppose? Okay, let's open the meeting to the public.
All right, let's see. So I don't, give me 1 second here. Hi, the name on here, it's Use Bio Easy.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
My name is Eusebio Perez and I go by Easy.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for having me at this meeting.
I'm sorry, Mr. Easy, do you have anything to say?
I just wanted to make a very quick comment. One remark and one comment. First, thank you for inviting me to this meeting. Very new to New Jersey. I was 15 years in Virginia, and I moved for a job here at Rutgers, and I live in Somerset, very close to the municipality. One of my remarks that I had to make. I hear you guys talking about the article about whether recycle is the right thing. Is that article published on the website? Is that where the motion was passed for, or I didn't get that very
Passed
clear.
for it to be posted to the township's social media page. So we aren't allowed to post anything directly. It has to go through the township's IT department, who then posts it to the township's Facebook page.
Okay.
Jessica, he makes a good point. Why can't you also ask them to put it on our website?
We could, but I think that would be maybe a second motion after everyone on the EC's read it. Right? If it's going to be like a permanent resource, maybe it makes more sense to have the whole group weigh in, whereas like a Facebook post, it's like it has a small window of time where it's available. But I like the article, so I would love to put it on the
In my mind, once we put something out there, we put it out on every channel, including our website.
All right.
That's
Yeah, I think I thought the motion was for our all media sites. That was my impression.
Oh, I only asked for social, but we could.
No, it's a public release, essentially.
It's a public article.
I move that.
Yes,
It's already in the public domain, isn't it?
I move that we thank Easy for the suggestion, and we go ahead and ask Bob McQueen to put it on our website too.
Second.
I move that we thank him also.
Thank you very much.
But Robin moved that, we thank him and we make a public release. So can we get a second?
I just seconded it.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
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 All who oppose? All right, so, Mr. Easy, I don't know, we didn't cut you off. Is there anything additional that you want to say?
Just one thing, I'm happy to help. I want to get involved in the community. It's my first time in New Jersey, and I must tell you one thing, which as a comment, that I've come here to New Jersey in my 15 years in the US, and I've always been to the Edison, Metuchen, and the highly populated area. Somerset is so different. It's green, it's pretty, and I'm hoping that it remains that way.
Okay. Well, we do have an opening on the commission, and there is an application process. If you might be interested, you could, become a commissioner. And from time to time, people retire or they, for whatever reason, they move on. And so you check from time to time to see if there is a vacancy, and there is a process. There is I'm sorry, Ted, we call it the information sheet. Is that right?
The citizen leadership form, and he has
Okay.
sent it in.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
send
he
some-
has. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't. Fantastic.
Applying
Okay,
to the Environmental Commission and several other things.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Easy.
All
Can I ask you, do you have prior experience in community the volunteering from Virginia or something?
Back home in India, yes. In Virginia, not much. I was
Mhm.
involved in school. That was the only part of my community life in school.
Okay, what type of community was it in India? What
In
kind of?
Mumbai, so I was involved in the community in Mumbai. It was a church group where I was
Mhm.
involved in the civic activities of the city.
What kind of activity?
Civic. So, basic
Civic.
cleaning, garbage cleaning, environmental again. It's all of that.
I see. Yeah, we have annual stream cleanup every April, approximately. We will have it later on the agenda today. So if you stay, we'll
For sure.
discuss more.
Thank you.
All right.
Not Walter. Town.
Walter? Did we lose him?
Hey,
Oh, there you are.
if
All
we,
right.
any additional public, person?
We have Bill Bowman again from Franklin Reporter. Hi, Bill.
Hi, how are you? I'm good. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks. And that's it for the public.
Okay, do we have a motion to close?
Motion to
Motion.
close.
Second.
Second.
Second,
It's
third.
moving a second that we close the meeting to the public. All in favor, let it be known, saying aye.
I'm
All opposed? Okay, and I believe the next item, is Jessica, the information, communication you receive on the website?
It's the email account. So there were actually two emails from
Oh,
one was from John Dugan at ridewise.org. He said he saw the article about possibly expanding anti-idling signs in town and thought it was a great idea and wanted to reach out. He works at Ridewise of Somerset County and is able to provide education and information on anti-idling, air quality, and transportation issues. He was wondering if we thought he could partner with us or would like to discuss something further. It says John Dugan, Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Manager. So I haven't researched Ridewise. I wasn't sure. Like, is anyone familiar with them?
Yes, I'm working actually through my Electric Auto Association. They're our very good partners, actually. We have some events and they are supporting us. Yeah.
So you already have a connection with them. I mean,
yes, but with
I
different
motion for
agents.
Stan to reach out. How do we?
Ridewise.
So what do we?
Wait, Tara, go ahead. Terry, seeing Ridewise.
Oh, yeah. So I've worked with Ridewise in the past, and Stan's right. They're a great partner. So they receive their funding through the North Jersey Transportation Authority. So they get pass-through funding to improve pedestrian, bicycle, and motor transit, complete streets, and then, promoting sustainability through transportation. So, they have resources, they have staff resources, they have funding. So yeah, I think just getting back to him, in an email and saying, maybe setting up a meeting or having him come to one of our meetings maybe and just explain what his thoughts are, because they usually come up with a lot of strategic planning for these types of improvements. So it might be good to just have them come and see what they have to offer.
They are having a meeting on September 29th on safety on 5 streets in the county, one of which is Franklin Boulevard. I think I sent the flyer to you all, although
yes, I saw that.
Wonderful. Seems to be difficult, but
how do I get in touch with them? Because we're working on a safety issue here in Canal Walk at the intersection of Weston Canal Road, Weston Road, and the Manville Causeway. I've been talking to the head of the Delaware Raritan Canal Commission, and we're trying to get flashing pedestrian crossing signs put up there.
Yeah,
that's
a good place
Yeah,
to
I would
have.
just reach out to them directly. If you go to ridewise.org, they have
Ridewise, okay.
Yeah, they have their website has a lot of resources. They have a lot of publications, past projects, all their staff contacts. And they do have staff that work specifically on bicycle safeties, routes to school. So yeah, you can find which person is most appropriate.
Yep. Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and Tara, you had recommended that I contact them about roundabouts.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about reducing idling traffic. So I think that'd be a perfect topic to have him. I did send an email. Nobody ever responded to me. Maybe this is the response. Maybe this is how it came.
I think if they're sending an email in, you respond directly back to that. Even if he's not the best person to talk to about every issue, he can at least, filter it to the right staff person.
Okay.
All right. So can
Am I writing back to this person, or am I forwarding him to someone else in our commission to take the lead with this?
Tara, you appear to be.
You can forward him to me if you want. I can do that.
I wouldn't be as good in describing in detail what Ridewise is doing, so that's why I was suggesting Tara.
Yeah, you can forward, if you want to forward that email to me, Jessica, I can respond back to him. And do you all want me to try and see if they can come to one of our upcoming meetings just briefly, or do you want me to just see what they have to offer first?
Well, certainly the one that Ted mentioned, and I would like to, it's all going to be virtual, I assume, and it seems like it would be makes sense for him to invite him to, I guess, be a part of the audience and interact, and I don't know what else.
Okay.
And at the same time, we can find out what they have to offer.
I would think it makes more sense for Tara to find out what they're interested in doing, what they have to offer, and see then if it makes sense to take the next step and have him come to a meeting and discuss that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And then there's one more email
Oh,
from Bob Vorlocker. I guess there was a contact us page, and it was from a Sarah Grundfest. And she put in the comments, trucks have been idling at the 7-Eleven on Hamilton and Veronica for hours, even when the store is closed. Will the new ordinance make a difference? Police do not enforce neighbors' complaints. And Bob Vorlocker forwarded this and said, replied to us and said, Jessica, this matter has been forwarded to the police department for follow-up and to contact the resident. There is no need for you to respond.
okay.
I hate to disagree with Mr. Vorlocker, but this person should be told that she can contact the county health department, and they do surveillance through their CHOP program. So it can be the county health department responding. It can also be the township police responding.
Do I write back, and because the original note came to the commission and Bob, I guess that's the way the contact us works, which I found interesting. And then he responded to me like right away. Well, not me, to our email address, like right away. So do you want me to reply to both him and this person, or?
Wow.
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate to do what I said to do if, this is what Bob is saying.
No.
But, I worked for the county for 30 years, and this is one of the things that we did. And I think it's something that the counties do more than the police do. It's actually a state, and it's not a new ordinance. She said something about a new ordinance, and this is not a new ordinance. This has been around for a long time. It's a state regulation is what it is. Maybe the township is putting together a new ordinance. Ted would know more about that. But this is a state ordinance, a state regulation that the counties enforce.
What we were working on is an ordinance for having no idling signs at warehouses, which is rather different. What I would suggest is maybe Arnie write an email from his unparalleled knowledge recommending contacting county health department and simply copy Bob Vorlocker on it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. My 2 cents is that Township Manager is not in the position to tell us what to do or not to do.
Well, I don't know about
You
that.
don't work for him.
Or am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Me?
Well, he will, but whether he...
Okay, so if Arnie's gonna be our drafter, Arnie, do you want me to just forward this to you?
You can forward it to me, and if what you're saying, Ted, is that I should send an email to her, just saying that the county health department enforces this, and give her the contact information, and that according to the township manager, the township police also enforce it, so she can contact either or both parties.
Yeah,
That's a good way to do it.
yeah.
Ted, is that what you're suggesting? And I would copy Bob Vorlocker?
Well, just send it to her and just say quietly, copy Bob Vorlocker.
And this helps underscore my,
Acknowledge that, he did, I guess he did respond, but we're saying this is additional information.
Yeah.
And this
Okay.
also underlines my point that I've raised about all the warehousing and the trucks at Veronica and Route 27. And in perfect tandem with that, today I was at that intersection. One of the tractor trailers had an accident with a private passenger vehicle, and the traffic was stopped all four ways at that intersection at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Ooh.
On Hamilton?
This was Veronica and Route 27.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You've
How
got-
late?
Right, you've got Howe Lane coming in, and on a normal day it's bad, but now you have a tractor trailer accident, and the Franklin police were there, and you can just imagine how much was pouring into the air in any given 90-second segment.
Well, give it time because they're still building some warehouses there. So there's going to be a lot more trucks coming and going there.
Right, which
So-
I think we want to comment on the master plan that we're going to have to modify it because it's going to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, we have to.
Next is plans review. I'll give you the update on the new one.
Okay.
Okay, very good. All right, I think we've covered that, and so we can go to plan review now. And
Okay.
I
Right.
saw Paul, and I know Tara had. So you go ahead, Paul, and you started off.
Okay, this is a new one that we haven't reviewed before. Christine Woodward asked me to do this one because we hadn't done it. And there's enough time. I said, we're going to meet this evening. We'll talk about it. And then I'll send our comments to her. This proposal is called Orion 4 Elizabeth Avenue Logistics, PLN 21-00013. It is 182,429 square foot warehouse located behind the ShopRite on Elizabeth Avenue. So it's across the street
my
from the
goodness.
safe store. It's down Elizabeth just a little bit. Well, there were two level offices of 4,400 square foot each, and parking for 130 spaces, and plus 26 loading bays with 16 trailer parking spaces. This is not a small operation. There must be a significant number of staff working there if they're going to put 130 parking spaces. The thing that we would be really concerned about, the site is 100% wooded. By that count, there are 2,318 trees on site. Now, 5.5 acres of the site they can't build on because there's a stream, an unnamed tributary to the Raritan River, and so there's a buffer on each side. That area is treed as well. So I don't know what the percentage of the protected territory is, part of the 2,300 square feet, 2,300 square trees, but still a lot of trees are going to come down.
Well, you
And-
said in your comments how many they were going to be replacing, and I looked at the environmental report, and I didn't see in there where it said how many they were taking down.
That was going to be my next point. Exactly, Arnold.
Yeah.
And I looked at the drawing where they talked about it, and the only thing they made was a comment that they're going to pay in accordance to the ordinance, but it never spelled out how many were what the gap was. You're exactly right. I saw that as well, and that's what I added in I wrote a planning schedule calls for 670 trees. So there's no mention of the gap in the tree replacement to be accounted for in the payment to the tree fund. But there's no final count as to how many, what the destruction is. And that's something that I think that needs to be brought up when the TRC does their comments. Otherwise, they've got detention basins, and I'd asked in my little comments whether this was in accord with the new stormwater regs. And Ted made a comment that he didn't think it was. They've got some underground, they have a bioretention basin listed. Ted, you want to comment on that?
That comment was on the storage facility.
Oh, okay, that's across the street. That's across
It
Glass
all-
Road. So it's a different one. Okay.
It
Right.
is the point that if they call something a bioretention basin, it's got to have more than lawn grass.
Ah,
It's got to be really the equivalent of a rain garden, not necessarily as decorative, but with
well, we can look at that a little more carefully. I think Tara was looking it up as well.
Mhm.
But the land use and coverage are all within the regular coverages. They did have, in this one, they were using pervious paving alongside the driveways in strips along all the driveways. The trucks can't take the pervious paving, but the borders alongside, they did with pervious paving. And they're using LED lighting. So they did all that. But, and I would recommend the usual solar on the roof, electric car chargers. With that many cars that are going to be there all day, electric charging makes sense.
Yeah,
And,
well, the township engineer now routinely asks for
yes,
electric charging station and bicycle racks. I'd go a little further and say that they put in wiring to install more electric charging stations as the need increases,
okay.
because it's so much easier to put in
Correct.
wiring when you're first building.
Yeah, I didn't specify any number of car chargers. For 130 car spaces, what kind of guideline do we give them, Stan?
I think that's in the new municipal electric vehicle regulations, isn't it, Ted? That bill that we didn't know about that got passed back in July? I think they referenced that.
Remember, I think there are some specifications.
Ah, okay. I'll look for that tomorrow.
Yes, that's the
Might
newspaper.
might as well be
don't-
specific.
Yeah, I don't know the guidance exactly. If I would be taking guess, I would say 20%.
20%.
Ted, during
20%.
the review process, what board, if any, is it that would review that and say how many there needs to be? Is it planning or zoning, or who would do
I would
it?
think it'd be planning. It'd probably be Mark Healy's group.
I will send you guys, I'll send everybody right now what,
I'm asking Ted, who is it that reviews that?
Well, it goes through Mark Healy in any case, or the
That's what I thought.
TRC.
So he would be the one that knows what would be required of them, and he
Yes.
would comment as to how many EV spaces there should be.
and because this is brand new legislation that we didn't hear anything about from the town, it's probably good for us to be familiar with it. So I'm sending them out now.
Thank you.
Came as something that essentially towns have to adopt.
Yes,
I sent it on to the mayor, Bob Vorlocker, and Mark Healy, that we ought to be incorporating it into our ordinance.
And I think we were supposed to have done it in July, so we're a little behind the.
Well, we'll pick up the guidance and put it into our comment.
And then we should be seeing something from somebody's office that they're working on the Franklin version of this.
I think
well, Mark Healy maybe.
requests may be necessary.
Well, why don't we do that? Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Was published on September 1, was signed by Murphy on July 9th.
Okay,
So now it's a state reg.
But the municipality has to pass one to at least match it.
Mhm.
Right, Ted?
Should have looked into it a long time ago.
Yeah, watch your emails. You should have it from me.
Okay,
It's somewhere buried. I have it.
No, well, I just sent it again, so it should be on top.
okay, good. We'll take a look at that. And I can reference that when I send the comments into Christine tomorrow.
Yeah, and then Ted, do you find out from somebody through your channels who's working on it, or do we just do it politely through Paul?
Well,
I can give Mark a call.
well, I should send him another email.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Ted did send it to the mayor, to Vorlocker.
Right.
to-
So that's the only new one. All the other ones that are in the zoning and the planning we've commented on. But
Oh,
this is a new one that just showed up last week.
okay.
There's a shade tree meeting this Thursday.
Right.
And I forwarded the information, the link to this site. And I also provided them the information comments that you had provided, Paul. And
Okay, good.
I just said to the shade tree people that, 100% of this is treed and we're going to be losing a large chunk of it. You guys may want to comment on this. And I guess they probably have to send their comments through us because I don't believe they have standing, and then we would be able to pass them on. So whether they're going to make comments or not, I can't say, but they have the opportunity. And I will not be able to be at that shade tree meeting because I have another meeting that takes precedent over that meeting. But I will be in contact with them about it.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's in the plans, there's an aerial view and it's 100%.
I actually pointed that out, that specific thing. I think look at page 26 or whatever it is. Or
Yeah, it's one
on there.
of
I
the
said,
exhibits.
take a look
Yeah.
at that page on there and you'll see an aerial view that shows it's all trees. Paul, did you go to that site?
Yeah, well, I looked at I pulled it up on the
No, I
planning
mean,
board
you
site.
you didn't drive to the site.
Oh, no, I didn't
Because
drive through, but I
it
know,
looked
I
like-
mean, I'm on
Yeah,
the
I
other
know,
side
but
because
it
we
looked
shop
like
at
there
the
was
shop
a,
right.
it looked like there was a cutout maybe on Elizabeth Avenue there, where maybe there's another building there or a house or something.
Oh, yes,
building
yes.
around.
That's the one that going around, the thing goes around that house. That house is not part of the area.
Okay, so
It's
that house
it's
backs
like a
separate
horseshoe
property.
with the,
Right.
yeah, the house stays there. It's a
Right.
separate property. I'm sure they must have tried to buy it. I mean,
Oh, I'm sure
it's
they
really a
did.
strange way it's going. But to the left of that house is where the stream is and the wetlands.
Okay. Very good.
So one thing I wanted to say was I know like the push to get solar and all that, but I really think green roof
I put that in.
offset all that tree loss. I just feel
Yes. Yep, I agree.
And I
Yeah,
still left to find a formula for that, and I gotta believe somebody must be working on it, especially now with all these extra water on the East Coast, that we can. break
Jessica,
down.
were you here when I told Robin, who I had met from Turner Construction? Did you hear those comments?
I
Turner
don't.
Construction here in town, they're on Franklin Square Drive. They've been building green roofs for clients.
Yeah, no, that was in the beginning. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I just think that should become, this is my opinion. I feel like that should become a part of our everyday recommendation when there's to offset. Like I hate that they're cutting down. I was looking at the maps to see like what it looks like satellite
Right,
for that area, and that's upsetting.
yeah. My last line that I wrote on the thing that circulated said, this also could be a prime area for using the roof to be partly covered by green stormwater management plantings. That's how I worded it.
Rather than saying,
Yeah.
well, maybe they're sophisticated enough to figure that out.
Maybe. I mean, if you're building a building, you can do this. It's not a retrofit. You do it as you're going up and it's a lot easier.
Maybe at the end of the sentence, you should just, in parentheses, not in parentheses, but just say green roof, so make sure they're not confused.
Yeah, I could bold it.
Yeah. All right. Very good.
Okay, so that completes my report.
Okay. Now, is that the same one that Tara had also give you
Right.
some,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I did review that. So Paul and I have been talking about how we're gonna, kind of do this review. So he had suggested that this project would be a good one to test out the green land development checklist on.
yeah,
I did that. The comments that we have are, I mean, I'm in agreement with all the comments. Do you mind if I share my screen for just a second to show
oh,
you?
please,
Go
please
ahead.
do.
Sure, please.
Okay. Hold on, let me get it here. This is it, right? Okay. So this green land development checklist I talked about a little bit a while back, and I sent it around to everyone. It's a draft still, but it was good to run this exercise on it. It incorporates the requirements that Sustainable Jersey has for green land development checklist, as well as ANJEC, and then the original document that Robin had sent me that you guys were working off of. So the beginning is just filled in from looking at the application and the variance applications and the site plans, and it just gives basic information about the project. So, what's how many square feet, acreage, when was it, when's the hearing scheduled, what's the present use, what are they applying for, and what's the reason that they need any variance for. So that's just the first page. Everything that we had looked at, that was very helpful, and I was able to fill it in really quickly. So now it's all in one spot. Then this part is required by Sustainable Jersey. It's just what existing environmental features are on there, and is there any mitigation proposed? So from looking at the map, of course, as Paul had mentioned, there is forested areas. We have wetlands on there. We have a stream corridor buffer and riparian areas. There's a flood hazard area on there, 100 feet from DRCC. And there was one area of threatened and endangered species. It's minimal, but it's just to note that it's, there. The next part is documentation that we received. So I just went through and checked off what was submitted there on the website. And then as we go down, it kind of is separated into different parts of review of the application. So for this one, when we're looking at context, there's some that, so not every category is going to fit for every application. Some just don't apply. So for example, like, does the development provide or increase a mix of land use types? This is a warehouse, so it's, I think maybe adding in a column that says not applicable might be helpful, because I kind of had to just like check no and write not applicable. So that would be one suggestion. Add in something that says not applicable, we can just check it off. This area is required from Sustainable Jersey, so it asks that you look at things, is there train service within a half mile? Is it close to a school? Is there recreation facilities? So for this type of application, it's not really something that we have to look at, but having that not applicable in there will solve that. What else here? So then we go down to the site development itself, and this is where it really talks about green design strategies. So they have something in place for erosion and sedimentation beyond what's required by the county. So that one you'll see I left blank here. And the reason why is they are in the process of getting their soil control, the erosion and soil and sedimentation control plan. It's not done yet. So I can't say if they have that or if they don't. So that again might be something to look at, like kind of having some area in there where we can note that it's underway and we haven't gotten to it yet or whatever. Then there's areas here for low impact design. So there is an area here for green roof. There's no green roof proposed here. But it does allow you to talk about the pervious pavements, like what Paul said, the 4 feet along the driveway are proposed as pervious pavement, with the driving lane being the heavy duty pavement so that the trucks can be accommodated. But I thought that was a smart way to incorporate some pervious pavement that they did. The trees, I also had the same conclusion that the landscaping plan is there and it tells you what new trees are proposed, but does not tell you how many trees are being removed. So that's something we're going to need to know. There was the great blue heron, which is a state species of special concern, was identified. It's not near where the development's proposed, but it's worth noting that it's there. The light pollution reduction, there was no light spillage identified. I really leave that more to Paul. That's more of his wheelhouse, but from what it looked like,
Yeah, all the new LED fixtures come with full cutoff. I mean,
Right.
that's what you're gonna, so you don't do sky pollution.
Right. Then the next part is does it qualify as a green building? So is this going to qualify as a certified green building? No. So kind of the rest of the points are moot here. But we could go through some of the questions I really can't answer without more information, like does the building incorporate gray water and stormwater capture and reuse? Are they going to be using low flow fixtures and things like that? That wasn't really discussed. I guess if we wanted to go back and find out, we could, but I don't think it's really relevant for
Yeah.
this building. So again, a lot of this is just not, it's not really like good for this project for us to look at. There is some steps about proactive steps for climate and energy. So it asked, does it use any renewable energy like solar panels, which was one of our recommendations.
Yeah.
The utilities underground. So I did notice that the utilities were underground, but the connections, I think there might be one spot where a connection has to be made. It didn't look like that was underground, but I would have to like really examine that.
Yeah.
And then the last part is the environmental justice portion, which again, for this project, it's probably not really as important as, or it doesn't really have all the features we would have to look at if we were looking at this large scale development or mixed use development. But these are some of the questions, that we would look at. And then the compliance with the state and municipal standards. So the erosion and sediment control, they said they will apply, so it's underway. The stormwater management, there is the 4 bioretention basins that are proposed, as well as the pervious pavement. There also looks to be some gray infrastructure that's proposed. They have the inlets and the stormwater. They had a culvert over there at some point. The new stormwater management rules does not require that you address all of the stormwater with green infrastructure, because that's not always feasible, but it says that you have to use green infrastructure as your first method for treating stormwater on site. And then what you can't do with that, you then go to the more conventional types of stormwater management. So for me, looking at it, they have the 4 basins, they have over 6,000 square feet of pervious pavement proposed. So I think they will meet their stormwater management requirement for green infrastructure. But because of the size of it, they're going to have to use some conventional stormwater management practices, which they've proposed. I didn't see a LOI in there for the wetlands, the letter of interpretation from DEP. So that's something we'll have to look at. They do state that there is no development near the wetlands, but usually applicant would have to submit the letter of interpretation. So I didn't see that. No noise, light, or air pollution was identified according to the environmental impact statement. The property is within the DRCC 100-foot flood hazard area buffer zone, so a permit will be required from DRCC, which it said in their report that they've applied for and they're waiting to see. One thing that I did note that's interesting is consistency with Somerset County's priority investment and preservation framework. So this is something I had added on as something we should look at for consistency. The county had a few years ago created areas where proposed brownfield infill was optimal, or just development in general, versus areas where preservation really should be the focus. And so this project is in an area where the county has identified, that this should be developed, to remediate brownfields or to serve as infill projects. So it is consistent with that. Doesn't say it has to be a warehouse, but it does fit in with that planning element. So that's just something of note. And then the recommendations, they're really the same as Paul's. The only other thing I had added was for the plantings in the bioretention basin, they're going to use a series of shrubs and things. So I just thought maybe one thing we could add is if there's the ability to put some of those shrubs or trees or flowers, whatever they're going to use in the bioretention basin, that also check off the list for pollinator plants. That would be great, because it would also help us achieve another goal that we're working towards, which is the mayor's monarch butterfly pledge. So not every plant in there has to be a pollinator species, but if we can get a few in there, I think we can also, meet some of our requirements for that. And also just bring, But other than that, I mean, you'll see. And then I had said, depending on the guttering system, which I didn't see any real standards in there for the guttering system, having cisterns that they can collect the rainwater and use it to water plants or wash vehicles, since it's going to be a warehouse, that might be optimal. But I'm not sure what if their guttering is going to allow for that. So might be something to put in there, but I'm not sure if it's really going to be feasible or not.
With one that size, would they really generate enough rainwater to be feasible?
They probably wouldn't generate enough to wash all of their trucks with, but having it there, I think not only if they could wash a truck with it or, just capture it, I think having it there, it shows that, it shows people that
put
are
it
coming
in.
and out,
Yeah.
And it's easy enough. I mean, it's easy enough to get a rain barrel or a cistern or whatever and just see if we can, when people come in, they might be like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. But yeah, I don't think it's going to do the job of watering all their trucks or anything like that.
No, but it helps mitigate the runoff, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like a educational piece too. I think when people walk by, they get, oh, what is that? How come you have that? What do you use it for? But other than that, so I used it for this one. I did find it, there was some areas where, I mean, if I add the not applicable column, I think it'll save a lot of time because I can just check off not applicable, not applicable. The only other question I had going through it, I'm wondering if I should really make this a Excel document, because if it's in an Excel document, we can, manipulate the data for a bunch of different projects. Moving forward, we can more easily find things, I think. So maybe making it Excel might be better.
There's a Word document at this
It's a
point?
Word. Yeah, it's a Word document right now.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Tara. Yeah.
Tara, I made, as I went through your thing, you skipped one area because we don't know if it's applicable. I want to mention it because when I was managing environmental affairs, I was responsible for compliance for all of our warehouses in North America. And hazardous substances can be in the warehouse. You never know if this is, you don't know who's going to be the tenant. If it's going to be a general purpose warehouse, there could well be hazardous substances, and then that gets into OSHA and those kinds of things. But also prep to avoid runoffs and those kinds of things.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and I didn't see anything in there addressing hazardous substances.
No, there's not. And I mean, we had light bulbs with radiation in them. I had an NRC license for each of the warehouses.
Yeah,
but
no.
in this case, you could have solvents, you could have all sorts of things.
That's a good point. Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on it, or we can ask for the information if they have it. That's
right. I mean, it really goes into it's more OSHA than environmental, but it is environmental. We had one warehouse where they had a spill from a degreaser and swept the degreasing fluid off the loading dock.
Oh wow!
Removed 1,000 tons of soil.
Oh geez.
Well, we know who is building this, but do we know who the tenant is going to be?
No, that's usually you don't. In a lot of these cases, it could be a spec warehouse, as but you don't put this kind of money in if you don't have some idea of who your tenant's going to be.
And they can share with us what their regulations are for their tenants.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
it could be in the lease,
Right.
We could definitely,
Usually.
So I found it to be helpful when going through the site plan. It brought me back to like when I worked at the county and did land development review. It's like check, check, check. But it does help you figure everything out. As I went through it though, I was thinking, this probably really should be in Excel, which it's not hard for me to, move it over to Excel.
Right.
And then maybe it would be searchable.
And then it will be searchable. And yes, we can compile data at the end of the year if we want to see what recommendations we made the most and what actually happened and what didn't happen. So that I can do. But yeah, I think this is a great tool. So once we start using it though, that was the one thing I had said. Once we start using it, we really should use it for every application, even the little ones. So if you want me to like make some tweaks to it and then we can figure out, or if you want to start using it, just I wanted to let you know how it went.
Tara, thank you. That was really a good review.
Thank you. Thanks for your help. I appreciate it. Yeah, Paul's and I have been working together a lot and it's been really good.
And I think we should figure out how we do the plan reviews. Do we task the same people and over and over again to do these, you know, as a subcommittee? Do we spread it around so nobody's stuck with it all the time? But I think that's a governance issue, and figure out what's the most effective, because if we do ask the same people to do it over and over, we'd have some consistency, but then we don't task them with anything else.
You don't have much time. Sometimes these take a couple hours
Yeah.
to review. It really is.
But some of the other projects we've done have also taken a couple hours.
I
So
mean,
if
I really liked it when we were live and we put the blueprints on the table and everybody participated. That was that was the ideal, because each person has different viewpoints and moves into a different area. I mean, luckily I've been doing this for a while and had warehouses under me, you know, at least from an environmental standpoint, all over the country and in Mexico and Canada. So you get, you have a feel, but yeah, and Tara's a big help.
one question and one observation. I believe in the new stormwater regulations, Tara, it requires the owner, and maybe the existing one, the owners to maintain the retention base, bio-retention basins.
Yeah.
But does it have any requirements about how diverse a retention basin has to be? Because as Ted pointed out on that other storage center on Elizabeth Avenue, it's just lawn.
Right.
That's not meeting the purpose of a bioretention basin.
Yeah, I don't think it has any specific requirements for types of planting. In this one, they did say they were going to try and use native plantings, but they didn't really get into what. But there is a requirement that it has to have, I believe, you know, has to have a certain amount of, you know, vegetation, not just lawn. So
Okay.
that should be, but you know, yeah, they're required to do it. And then I guess if when the inspector came out, they would probably fail at that point and have to plant it.
It'd be interesting to see if ANJEC or somebody else or WSI comes up with a model bioretention basin.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have a standard to look at.
I found this application showed some awareness of environmental things tucked into it here and there, you know, which I thought was good.
My other observation was, I think the county's just developed a new office, haven't they? They've put planning and development and preservation all together under one person. And I'm hoping that will make, you know, when we send this stuff off to the county, is getting a really thorough look from a lot of different angles. And maybe we can learn some standards from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that in their newsletter coming out.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Thanks everybody for your feedback.
Yeah, that was well done, guys.
Okay, now we move into, into the new business now, and I believe it was the model EV ordinance that sort of snuck up on us. I mean, what do we do now? I'm searching here, got this thing live. Is that the next item?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Ted, you sort of brought this to us, and also with, I guess, some of the guidance, if you will, of the history behind it. So, Ted, do you want to comment further on that?
No, I can't even remember who sent it to me, but
Well, I just sent it to everybody. If you look in your email,
good.
Oh, okay.
it shows who sent it to whom.
Okay, here we go.
I think Leanne McGowan from RideWise.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It has lots of links, that email.
But primarily you can see the EV ordinance is the first thing. And she credits Morris McLaughlin for getting that out, a law firm in Somerville. But I think the first I heard of it was when Bob Smith mentioned it at that League of Conservation Voters event. Earlier this month. So it's new to us.
Okay.
But didn't we say that somebody was going to get in touch with Healy on this? We mentioned this a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I should bug him again. Well, him and Bob.
Okay, it's electrical.
Okay, Ted, we'll look to you to follow up on that and to see what their recommendations are or what their intentions are. And I guess we're behind schedule in terms of developing something with the Franklin Township stamp on it. But, or I guess you could, if you wanted to, just, adopt the state ordinance or state for municipalities directly.
We should get Stan's input on it. I think he'd be very valuable on this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So Ted, does this have to go before council now?
well, an ordinance would go before council. at some-
Yeah.
But, it's getting it prepared that's the
Okay.
hill to climb.
All right. All right. So we're going to put a watch on that. And Ted, we'll see what feedback you get from Mark Healy and the others.
And Stan, if you have any specific suggestions for going beyond what's is already specified in it, then I can mention that.
I'm just going through the EV, the ordinance, and here, prepare and make ready parking spaces at least 15% of the required off-street parking spaces, and install EVSE in at least 1/3 of the 15% of make ready parking spaces. 1/3 means 5% then. So 5% install station, and additional 10% make the wires ready. I said 20, so I was pretty close.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, I'll
5%
go.
would be 6 or 7.
I'll read in detail and then I'll follow up.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Next, if we follow the agenda, we have the Environmental Stewardship Award, and it's suggested that we go into executive session on that. So that requires a motion, does it not?
very much so.
Yeah. So if that's the wish, the feeling of the commission, then can we get a motion for executive session on this? And what does that mean? That means that people who are guests are temporarily, their audio, video is not made available to them?
Well, usually for executive session, we go in at the end of the meeting because we have to remove the non-commission members from the meeting. And then
It makes it difficult maybe to put them back in, right?
they would have to come back in, but they wouldn't know when to come back in. So we
Okay,
usually do that at the end of the meeting when there's no further business to happen.
okay.
Yeah, that makes
Makes
good
sense.
sense.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's go to the next point. And
Yeah.
Next one is, well, Franklin Day, of course, was canceled. And Ted, I guess you were at the council meeting where this decision was made. Is that correct this time?
Yes. Well,
And,
also there was a council caucus before that in which various members spoke. I mean, the mayor brought it up, but it wasn't just the mayor that felt we should
Okay.
do this.
All right. Well, so, we were preparing, and I guess things are on hold, but I believe most of our plans can probably sort of be metered out, or the material that we have prepared we can get, out in a more systematic way rather than Franklin Day. I don't visualize it being rescheduled. So let's prepare for that. I don't know if anybody has any other suggestions. All right. All right. If we go down to, we call it recent business, the reusable bags, with the township logo, we know that the city manager did go ahead. I don't know if they have arrived. Has anybody seen them? They know where they are, or did did he get some early warning and did not order them? Tara, do you know what happened?
They were definitely ordered. I assume that they are in, I don't know where they are in the building,
Yeah.
but they are in. So we should be
Okay.
able to, yeah. I have to find out where they are exactly.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
Tara. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to have to go, but I'll circle back with you, Tara, on the flyers and.
Okay,
Thanks.
sounds good.
Robin, thank you for sending us all
Thank you.
those information today.
You're
Yes.
welcome. You're welcome. See you next time.
Okay,
Bye.
Okay.
bye-bye.
See you.
Maybe we'll see you at the, at
Yeah,
that thing.
Oktoberfest, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Bye.
Okay. Very good. All right. And recent business also the well, whatever we were doing. No, okay. We go to B, New Jersey Climate Resilience Planning. There's a bill, and what is Franklin Township doing? I think it's sitting here somewhere in Franklin Township, and I don't know if we know what's happening. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me see. Climate, I'm sorry. So wait, this is for the, B, climate resilience planning. What is, okay,
Yeah.
right. So that bill we did talk about a little bit last time. I actually have here. So I get, as part of like, you know, my fees that I pay for things, I get this newsletter once a month. It's called the New Jersey Planner. And they had a whole article in it, this edition, about what is this bill and what does it require for climate change related hazard vulnerability assessment as part of it.
Okay.
So basically, just real quickly, and this newsletter, I just want to say, it doesn't come electronically at all. It's only paper, which is so, because I wish I could just forward
Go
it to you all.
figure. Yeah.
But I'll just tell you quickly is that when a municipality is adopting a new land use element of their master plan, which that has to be done every 10 years, when that happens, that first time is going to trigger this resiliency element that has to be put in there.
Exactly.
And there are certain
Yeah.
things that have to be in there. One of them, identification of a climate change related natural hazards that are anticipated to impact municipality. A build-out analysis projecting future development in the municipality with a focus on areas that exhibit a high level of vulnerability and risk. The third is an assessment of threats and vulnerabilities resulting from climate change. The fourth is identification of critical facilities necessary for evacuation purposes and for sustaining the quality of life during a natural disaster. The fifth one is the evaluation of the impact of climate change related hazards on other elements of the master plan. So looking at, you know, how does this affect a sustainability plan or a farmland preservation plan or an environmental resource inventory. Strategies and design standards that will reduce or avoid the risks associated with the identified climate change related hazards. And the last requirement is a policy statement on the relationship of the vulnerability assessment with any existing or proposed natural hazard mitigation plan, floodplain management plan, emergency management plan, post-disaster recovery plan, or the capital improvement plan. So when we have to adopt that that element, which is the one required element of the master plan, is the land use plan, that's when this is going to get triggered. So that's the things that we're going to have to look at and keep in mind. You know, so it's just something to keep an eye on, but that's going to have to be a part of it. And then other elements of the master plan, when they're updated, we really should be, any element, we should be including a resiliency discussion so that this element can pull from those different, you know, other elements. And also it really should just become part of our everyday planning, is making sure we're incorporating resiliency.
Yeah.
So, and then they have a whole, which I can send this, I'll scan it. They have a whole step-by-step guide of how to do the build-out analysis and how to identify your vulnerable population. So I'll save this article. It was pretty good.
Can I make, in my observation, what we need to realize that one of the consequences of climate change are the more intense rains and more frequent rains. And because our soil is clay, it doesn't have the inherent ability to soak up.
Right.
So I think that what we need to revise is actually the land available for building or construction. And I think that that needs to be changed in the master plan. We need to scale that number down, essentially, because every time we complain about yet another warehouse, that's pretty much because this is what we feel like. We are covering yet another land, and then we have so little area to soak up the rain, and we have more of the rain. So I think that's the key point of the master plan.
We in Franklin Township do have a lot of preserved land. 34%, I think, of the total land is preserved. We also have the advantage that apart from the Millstone River being paralleled by Canal Road, our more important streams generally go through undeveloped and in fact typically preserved land. If you look at where does 6 Mile Run go, there's nothing near 6 Mile Run. 10 Mile Run and 9 Mile Run, which is the Franklin Park Brook. The Franklin Park Brook does go through built up or prospectively built up areas, but we are to some extent already planned for not getting flooded by those brooks. On the other hand, of course, there's the development between Eastern Avenue and the canal, which will flood, did flood. Anytime the river rises enough to overtop the canal.
Right.
But that's already developed. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. But I think that might be a good thing to try and look at when we look at our master plan, is looking at analyzing the soil types and maybe laying that over with our zoning to see where do we allow this intense development, and is that kind of laid over where there's already these soils that are not capable of, adequate drainage. So it might be a good exercise to do.
It's not so much the soil, it's the underlying shale. Most of the township has shale close to the surface, and that's what makes it poorly draining. And then down where I am, of course, there's diabase. But there is a small area in the general vicinity of the intersection of Route 27 and 518 that is good groundwater recharge land. But it's just a small part of the total township.
I think I actually like Tara's suggestion, and to your point, Ted, I think it's a combination of the two. Like there's soil quality and the underlying, earth infrastructure, for lack of a better way to put it, I think is going to be important. I think the NRCS should be involved because they've done all these soil studies. They would have readily available information and freely accessible information on their website. So I just think they would be a fantastic resource for this.
Yeah, great. Agree.
Yeah, I agree. For instance, the woods across the street from me, the soil is very clayey, and I describe it, you dig a hole for a perk test and put water in it and come back 2 weeks later and the water's still there. I mean, at one point there was a developer had an option on it. He did perk tests and he walked away, and then the county acquired it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those are good suggestions. So let's make sure that we note them and keep them at ready as we move forward.
Yeah, so it looks like, just to keep in your minds, the most recent re-examination, that's what it's called when you basically update your land use element, which is required, like I said, every 10 years. The most recent examination was 2016. So it's going to be due again 2026.
So we are in the middle.
Yeah, we have some time, but it's definitely worth, having it in
Time
the
flies. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. All right. The Veston fossil fuel resolution, I believe that the council did take that up, and I'm not sure what
They
did
passed-
happen. Ted, do you know what happened?
They passed it.
Okay.
So it can come off our list.
They
So that
passed it. I
means
sent it to Anne Marie. I sent it to Anne Marie for distribution. So I believe it's been distributed.
going forward, the township of Franklin will divest itself in fossil fuel type of investments for it.
That's
The township
perfect.
doesn't invest money that way. No, the resolution was to ask that the state pension funds divest
Okay.
from
Yep.
Yeah.
fossil fuel companies.
Ah, good. So hopefully a lot of people will send the same thing in.
Mhm.
All right, very good. So if we move down here to records prep cleanup program update, Stan, what's happening there?
It was one-time deal. Essentially, we released the article, and I didn't hear back from Christian. What I did hear back was from Malik from Tap Into. And he apparently interviewed Christian, and he also asked me for a few questions. So I sent him some reply. I don't know whether he did something with that, but I try to be a little bit more careful so that it's not something that would have to be run through the commission.
Okay.
He was asking like what the commission is doing, and I referred to our mission statement and the website, so that would be safe.
Good.
Of course, I imagine that if they hadn't cleaned up, it all would have floated away. Flooded.
Absolutely.
Well, not the bottles. The plastic, yes. The bottles, no.
Yeah, I wish that they organized another event, because it was just it was very conservative. It was just the area at their school, and there are so many other places.
In
And
the
maybe
town.
they did. Maybe they are just not keeping me in the loop. That's also possible.
Okay. Very good. I wonder if their property over there suffered any flooding or anything. I don't know what historically has happened. But they are sort of in a location you would suspect that it's possible. All right.
I know from when they've been before the planning board, there's like one corner of one building is within the flood hazard area.
Ah,
That doesn't tell me whether or not they actually did get flooded. You
okay.
can ask the question.
Okay, I can ask Christian about how. Are you talking about the IDA, right? How they were affected? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And the Green Infrastructure Strategic Plan, Tara has given us a little more update each week, and I think I don't know if there's anything additional that we should be looking forward to, Tara.
Not right now.
Okay,
Still working on, identifying good sites. So yeah, I'll keep you posted as we move along.
okay.
Yeah. Well, I think I would hope that we have an opportunity with infrastructure money passed down to the towns to really do something here. I
Yes. Yeah.
just realized I should have really gone over the plan before this meeting, which I didn't do. But
Well,
because
that's
as
okay,
I
because we have the documents done now, so, we have time to select what works and what we recommend is the best plan, but I agree, there is a good source of funding there, and we should look into that as a way to fund, what we think will be the best impact.
I mentioned this in an email to the manager, and I think when you were discussing it before, you said that the project with the greatest benefit would be pervious pavement for the parking lot of Mount Carmel Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
So something to think about.
Yeah,
Although, of course, that's private property, but
yeah,
still,
we can work out an agreement with them if we can, make it beneficial for them and us, but yeah, in terms of it's very costly, but in terms of the reduction of impervious cover and the reduction of non-point source pollutants, that is the number one.
yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, if we go down to adopt the storm drain program.
Oh, yes. I've been working on that. So I think at the last meeting, I updated everyone that I had reached out to Westfield, and they got me in touch with Hamline University, who actually, they created the Adopt a Drain program. They administer it for Westfield and all the other communities that are involved in that program. They have programs in California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Missouri, and they're growing, as time goes by. But
Missouri, wow.
yeah, so basically, I had been speaking with Tracy Frieden, and he's the person that really is in charge of it. So he put together a proposal on how to do it, and what it includes is a one-time fee and what Hamline, so there's 3 fees, but the first one is a one-time only fee. And basically, Hamline University sets up the interactive website with the interactive mapping. So it'll show what drains are available for adopting, what has been adopted. It has a portal for people to upload their data. It allows them to put together an end of the year report. And so to get that all set up is, one-time fee. And it can be between $2,000 and $5,000. So I'm waiting on the final numbers. And then every year, there's a fee that's charged. It's based on your population. So it's 7 cents per person in your township.
Mhm.
So our most recent is, I think it's around let me just look. I think it's around 68,000 is our most recent population.
68,000, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be around $4,800 approximately, and that's a yearly fee, but that keeps us going with they administer the entire program. So the beauty of this is anytime someone signs up to an Adopt a Drain, Hamline University updates the website, they update the mapping, they send them their welcome packet, they compile a yearly report for us every year that looks at a ton of different data. They will mail out lawn signs. If someone is not reporting, they contact the people to get the information. So they do everything. So that would be $4,800 roughly for the year, every year. So, and not, we only have to pay that first fee the one time. And then there's some add-ons you can get. So if you want to really, you can get as much as you want. They will put together a social media campaign if you wanted. They have fancy lawn signs if you want. None of that is necessary, but it's options. So I did meet with the township manager and discuss this in detail. And so I'm going to be on the public works agenda of the township council for next month to see if they would be willing to, if they're interested in moving forward with it and approving it. And if it does get approved by the council, then we could go ahead and start implementing that, and they really take care of the heavy lifting, which is excellent. So
Wonderful.
yeah, so the middle of the month, they meet the same night as the Township Council, the first Tuesday of the month. So next October, I gotta get my calendar. Hang on one sec. October 12th, I'll go to that meeting, and then the full council has to approve it. But again, if it gets approved, it'll take some time. You know, we have to do the, you know, get the contract signed, but if it all goes well and it gets approved, we could be up and running hopefully by the beginning of next year. And, you know, people can very easily go onto the website, select the drain that they want to adopt. They'll get a nice packet, they'll get something for their window, they'll get a little sign, and they get instructions on what to do. And then at the end of the year, we can say to Hamline University, okay, we want our report to include how much phosphorus was removed from the system, how many leaves, how many, like, you know, pounds or however they measure it, of leaves were removed, and
Right.
how many I mean, we can look at data a bunch of different ways, and it's really going to help. I also spoke to Carl Hauk about it to see what his opinion was on it, because, you know, he's really the one that has to do our municipal stormwater permit. He thought it would be helpful for the township to participate, you know, for meeting our.
Very important that.
Yeah.
That really makes a difference whether Carl thinks it's worthwhile.
Yeah, he did,
Yeah.
and he really did. Yeah, he was very actually excited about it. So that was, I thought, a really good sign.
I think when he has seen Tara's face, then he must have agreed.
Right, or he was like, "Oh gosh, let me agree, so I don't have to talk to her anymore." One or the other.
No, not that way, but
But yeah, so middle of next month, I'll at least have a gauge of it. Looks like it's going good, and then I'll let you all know. And if you have a chance, look at Westfield's site, Westfield's adopted drain, and that's what our
Yeah,
site
yeah, I
would look
know.
like. And it's
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
really cool. It's very interactive.
I know that Princeton is also working on it, but they have the students group, and so I don't know how does it fit with the Hamline University, but the students are apparently populating
Oh,
the map.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but I wanted to say, Tara, that when we have stream cleanup in April, it would be great to kind of announce to people that, hey, you know, you can actually get engaged on regular basis in your community.
Yeah,
So
I
if we
agree.
had it
That
by
would be
then, yeah.
That would be great. We could put in the Franklin Times, we can put it on the website. That's all if it gets approved. It still has to go to the council, but I mean, it looks like, I mean, the first upfront fee, of course, you know, we have to pay for setup, but then every year, it's really a small fee to pay for all that we would be getting out of it. So,
I agree.
yeah.
You should,
Keeping the drains clear will save work for the public works
absolutely.
department.
Carl
Oh,
did say that too. He said that would save his staff a lot of work and, you know, cost money every time he has to send them out to do it. So it would be really, really beneficial.
Right. Wonderful.
Another point about it is that people can report any drain grates that have sunken. For instance, one of the three down the street from me is down somewhat. And there was one up on Horseshoe Court that the residents reported to me that was in a really bad shape. I mean, the grate had started sticky, going up like this.
Oh
That was
gosh.
a couple of years ago, but that's the kind of thing that can happen. So it's good to have people aware, but it will definitely be on the Environmental Commission to recruit a goodly number of people to do this. And it occurs to me that in connection with that, I could also try to recruit people for the nationwide data collection on rainfall organization, which is called COCO-RAS, which I forget.
Oh, COCO-RAS. Yeah, I'm a part of it.
Well, so am I.
Wow.
But
Great.
Okay, wonderful.
Number of people up in the Somerset area that are doing it, and there's I can just tell from the maps, there's somebody probably in Princeton Ridings, somewhere around there doing it as well as me. But I think we should use more in the middle of the township.
Yeah.
I
Because
have
rainfall can be quite local. And it's very interesting to look at the reports each day. I mean, I could see from the rainfall reports on Hurricane Ida just where it was worst. Yeah, Manville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The rainfall was heaviest.
Mm.
Recently, they had a report in from one of their reporters saying, this will be the last report from this site after 15 years. It all floated away.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Wow.
I read that email too. During the Ida, I had 7.1 inches.
Jeez.
Ah, you have a rain gauge there?
Yeah, that was the maximum I have ever. And actually, it was read by my wife because I was in Czech Republic at that time.
Oh, gosh.
I recorded 6.76 inches, and I think I spilled a little bit, but a few hundredths of
Oh,
an inch.
wonderful. Where do you guys get the rain gauges from? Locally?
Well, I got one as a door prize at some event at the Blaustein School. I forget. I was told I'd better sign up for this program.
Oh, okay.
I had to pay for it
Okay.
from the organization, like $30 or $40.
Okay.
Not cheap, but it's sturdy.
Yeah.
I should get a new outer cylinder. Mine is rather clouded. Too many times heating up to melt snow in it.
Okay. All right. Very good. But I think this adopt a storm drain program can be really interactive and probably one of the biggest projects that we've had in a long time that involves, the whole township. If it really gets going, I can't, I would think that that we would move forward. The town manager and the council hopefully would do that, but I guess it's going to take us time to move forward. So we'll keep watch on it, and I'm sure Ted will keep us updated on what's happening. All right. If we go to old business, we sort of go through real quickly.
What if we just put out there and said, hey, anyone have updates on old business? And if there are none, then we can motion to close.
Jessica always said that.
Well, because to be honest, it's 9 o'clock.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
And to run through each item is exhaustive and
Yes,
unnecessary.
So
I
does
have
anyone
something
have
to
any? Go ahead.
I have something to report on stormwater basin retrofit program.
Okay.
One of the basins retrofitted was, I guess it's off Treptow behind the Glen Air development. And they had a lot of basements filling with water, and they're blaming the retrofitted stormwater basin. We're going to be, I don't know whether it's really to blame, but
Yeah.
I think we're going to have some looking into that.
Okay. All right.
And
All right.
I just wanted to briefly discuss the stream cleanup. I mean, this is not urgent by any means, but last time I was reporting on doing inspection of the brook that it's next to Imperia. Ted mentioned that it's private.
Yes.
And I also discussed it with Heather from Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership. She would much rather do mile run. Among other reasons is that it strengthens the collaboration with the New Brunswick Environmental Commission because it's a stream that it's neighboring between these two towns. we did that in 2019.
Yes, we did. Mhm.
So, I believe that stream would be worth to clean up. So I just wanted to gauge opinion of the commission, whether we should pursue private or whether we should go with the public, which, you know, anyone has any opinion on that?
I
Ted?
probably might as well go back to Mile Run.
Yeah. Do we
Okay.
want to communicate to the property owners of the Imperia owners that they should do something about the mess on their property? What is the protocol?
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be worth communicating with them and suggesting that, you know, conceivably we could run a cleanup there. I suspect that they'll, if they talk to their lawyers will say, well, what about liability? And it'll all go away. But
Well, one way or another, they are accountable for
yeah,
the area. So if they don't want us to do it, then they should hire someone and pay them. And so, do we want to write in something
I
or
wouldn't
not?
be quite that legalistic. I would say that you had noticed that there was considerable litter along the stream there, and wondered if you propose to do anything about it, or if you would like the Environmental Commission to organize a cleanup, or what, and see if they have any.
Okay. So shall I prepare a draft of this text and then we'll move on it next time, or?
Yeah, I can.
Because I don't even have contact to the owners. I mean, we could send it by snail mail.
Wait,
I know
can the zoning officer?
I had a meeting with them once, and I think then Councilman Prasad had something to do with setting that up. I could inquire through that channel.
Can we, Ted, can we ask Sarasa in zoning, because she, you know, issues like violations or, you know, goes and inspects the property. Can we ask them to do it that way, or we want to just ask them nicely first with a letter?
Oh, I would ask them nicely, see if you.
Okay.
Because technically, of course, Stan shouldn't have been on the property.
Oh, right, right.
I didn't see any post.
Okay.
All right, very good. Any, what about the rest of the old business item? Anything else?
No.
No,
Okay, then we still have the environmental stewardship executive session, but we have to open to the public first, don't we? And then have the
then
executive
close,
session.
yes. Yep.
Should be last. Okay, can we open to the public again? Can I have a motion?
I don't think there's nobody.
Oh, I don't think there's
We
any.
did, I'm sorry.
No members of the public.
Yeah, there's nobody.
Okay, so shall we go
Okay.
to the executive then?
Okay. Well, so nobody in the public, so we can go to the environmental stewardship executive session. We need a motion for that.
I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Okay, the
I'll
second.
that. I second
Okay,
that,
it's
yeah.
been moved and second that we move into executive session on, well, specifically to address the stewardship award. So all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed?